and welcome to another creative tutorial video. I'm Shauna Robeson with Creating Space Coastal. In today's video, I will be demonstrating some simple ways to increase depth and dimension when coloring faces with colored pencils. Don't forget to check out my Healing Art After Hour videos for more coloring tips and techniques. Enjoy and happy creating!
Work on a face. And try to just show you how, to just make some contours. They're tricky because you need the right colors for skin tones. So, and some palettes don't have, that many options of colors. So that's one of the challenges that you can run into. This is the Prismacolor Premier, which I think I'll use because I have the most colors. This is my Polychromos, which I think did okay. One of the challenges that I've run into is one time, like I did, and this is why it's important to pay attention to your colors, because depending on the lighting you have, color. So this was a lot lighter, and I did this with Copics. But then I went in and I used the wrong color, so I had to go through and do the whole thing, and it was, her skin tone's not what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be lighter, but then I was forced to try to fix it, and it didn't quite work, and even some of the colors you can tell aren't the same. So, when I'm still, this is again, I'm still learning how to do bigger bases with the Copics, and I still have some work to do there. But I did better the most recent one. I think I actually have some different color there too. Like I think I did her neck tone different. So pay attention to which one you're using. Try to use good lighting. A lot of times I color in not ideal conditions, and then they look like they're same color, and then I look in the light and they're not. So pay attention. Because I'll do it while I'm, watching TV or something like that. I doodle or color, and so I don't follow my own advice. It's like, oh, that's not the color I thought it was, and sometimes it's not even the color family I thought it was. So, a cautionary tale. It's a good idea to make notes, even of the color scheme. The colors that you're using for the skin tone. As I said with the pencils, let me get the right pencils. I also put these in triad families because I basically do the same thing as I do with the alcohol markers. So I have my color swatch showing where they are, and then I put them together with like colors to create these trios. And then if I use something, I'll flip it around. So if I use this color, these colors, for example, and I have to put things away, I'll just flip the pencil. So everything that's going this direction is what I'm using for my current project. So that's one way to organize, because if I leave everything out, on the workspace, but it's hard to track. So I try to, somewhat keep them organized, because looking at just the color on the outside, this and this looks the same on the screen to me. So you're not going to always be able to tell really the color just by the color pencil, because it's it's going to be different on paper with the pigment than it is whatever they painted this with. So they try to get close, but it's not perfect. All right, let me just pick a page with a face. We'll play with that. Let's do this one. Okay. So one of the things that I try to do is think of the contours of the face. Where is the part that hits the light the most? So if I'm thinking that the light's coming directly, let's say a flash bulb, What are the parts of the face that stick out the most? And those I want more highlighted, you know, the nose, obviously, you know, there's the cheekbone. So there's usually like a contour there, right? So that goes darker. So think about where the highs and the lows might be of a face, and where there might be shadows. So those are the things I try to keep in mind. I try to think about when I'm doing the face, is what is the contour of what I'm working with. So I'm going to look at my colors. Let me find a good skin tone trio that might work for. And those are not all color palettes that you buy. Like if you buy a color group together, they may not have great options for skin tones. I have a lot of the Prismacolor, so I have a lot of choices. But just be aware that sometimes the pencil companies will create a whole set that's just based on skin tones. So look at what you have. If you are wanting to do skin tones, just make sure that you're checking the color to see how they work. I have really a lot of options as far as skin tones go with this. So with this set that I have. Okay, I think I'm going to go with maybe these three together. So let me grab those. So she's kind of peach. And you think, what is this for? Well, this is to do some of the shadows. And you know, I have a lot of work to develop my skill in doing faces too. So I wouldn't say that, you know, this is my strongest thing either. I'm still learning and getting more brave because, you know, I think the more you add, the more complexity. I mean, sometimes people use 10 colors for a skin tone on a face because they're doing several shades of shadow. And I do a very simple basic one. So that's what I'm going to be showing you. But, you know, you can take it to whatever level you want. I'm just going to be showing you the basics. You can even have undertones and make it very complex. So mine, I imagine they're really washed out because there's a flash bulb. So there's not as much complexity to the coloring. So I like to, just like I do with the alcohol markers, I will lay down the dark color first because I always blend with the light color. So if I lay down the dark color first and then I blend on top with the next color, then it blends that as it goes. Sometimes laying down the light color first for this type of thing too helps to move the darker pigment so it doesn't get stuck there on the paper. So it really depends on the paper and how it works. Again, you can take that page and do a sample, like maybe there's something that I probably won't do, one of these, I don't know, little baby thingies, or an area maybe that I won't use. You know, if there's something that I don't like, but then I would just try it out and see which works better. So, oh, I'm losing there we go. Okay. So, for example, on this paper, I might try to do a blending sample where I lay down the dark and then go over with the medium. I'm just going to create a gradient basically. And then the light. First of all, I'm seeing how do I like these colors? Am I getting good blending? And then I might go over the whole thing with the lighter color to blend, see how it does. Then I can try it the other way with all light all the way across, my medium, 2/3 of the way. See, I'm not getting that color because this is wax based. I'm not getting the color to lay down like it did the other way, but I'm getting a softer blend. So I don't know, I'm getting something I don't like. So I'm going to go ahead with my first original and lay the dark color first. So I'm going to think about where I want some darker shades. And I can come back and add it later too. I don't have to do it all necessarily all at the beginning, but I just want to think about it because I want to kind of lay some of those in. So some of the shadow parts, and then, you know, I think where's the darkest, where's the medium? I don't want completely dark. Like the darkest is going to be, you know, probably near, again, I'm thinking this is the more shadow side. I just tend to do that as a default. I don't always do that, but also I'm thinking, okay, under this hair, there's a shadow from the hair. So that's going to be a little bit darker. So I'm just laying a light. Now, when you're doing the pencils, you want to have a nice sharp tip, and then you want to just lay down a really light layers. You don't want to press it hard. Okay, so then I'm thinking also maybe her cheekbone comes this way. So I'm going to create a little bit of a shadow that comes in a little bit there. And then I don't want quite as much shadow down here because the hair's not there, but I want a little bit. So I'm just putting in a little bit of some color there. Maybe there's the little peaks there and some shadows around the nostrils. I don't want my darkest color here, but I do want a darker color, and maybe I might make it darker, but I at least want my medium color. I want to create this contour of the nose. Yeah, that's a little bit light, so I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of the darker color. Here near the eyes. And then on this side, thinking about her cheekbone, just creating the contour. You're just putting some color. It's going to be blended. You're just laying down some tones. And then the chin usually kind of comes out a little bit. So maybe there's a little bit of some contour around chin. Maybe this comes in a little bit, forehead. This area is usually pretty bright. The tip of the nose is pretty bright. So you're just creating some shapes within the shapes with a darker tone. And then with your medium color, you're going to go in and just blend. And I'm doing circular motions. I want it to be a soft line. I don't want there to be a harsh line. I just want there to be a gradient of color. Now this is the medium color, so I don't want it to come all the way, but I'll probably bring it some of the way in. And not where my brightest brights are, but you want to just always rotate your pencil as you're coloring to keep sort of sharpening it as you go. Because this soft leads, I don't know if you can see that. Look at how dull that is. These ones get dull fairly quickly because they're very soft, and it's very soft, waxy. But you don't get as much detail. Now I'm doing bigger areas, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. But when you're trying to do fine details, that's especially challenging with these. Softer leads. And I'm kind of moving along with the contour of the face. Like I'm moving the lid. I'm not just scribbling across up and down. I'm actually just imagining like the face is three-dimensional and I'm following the contours of that face. Does that make sense? So the strokes of the pencil are following the contours of the face as well. All right, now I'm going in with the lightest color. I'll try to blend that out even more. Now I'm going to leave above the eyes. I'm going to put some makeup there, so I don't want my skin tone to interfere. I mean, it's not like real skin tone where, you know, your makeup covers it. It could make it look kind of muddy. So I leave that area where I plan to put some, makeup. I'm trying to leave that just white. I want a little bit of some contour underneath the eye. And as I go closer to where I want the lightest, I just go very lightly with my color, my lightest color. I'm putting down maybe a little bit of color there, or I might leave it completely white, but I like to lay down at least a dusting of color so it's not stark white. And the darker you put the next color, the less contrast you get between, your low lights, where you want the darker spots. So it'll soften up that contrast. I don't really like these very much, but now you can remove some of the like wax pencils with an eraser. Love it. So I feel like I don't really like on this side. I want to see if I can lighten that chin line because I feel like it's too prominent. And I don't know if I'll be able to. It might be. Well, I think I pressed too hard and it's kind of stuck there. So I have to work with it. I don't feel like it's moving. So one way to work on it, if you feel like it's too much contrast, is to, oh, it's 10 already, is to just darken everything around it too. So you just don't have as much contrast. I want a little more color on this side and a little less color on that side. These are, I do find that the polychromos, the oil-based, just give you a lot more flexibility with the layers of how much you can do. I mean, you really have a little bit more wiggle room because with the wax base, the wax starts to build up and then you get less control as the wax builds up. Now on this side of the face, because that's the side that's more in the shadow, I'm using more of the medium color as the main areas. And then on this side, I'm using more of the lightest color. You can tell it's not laying down, as easily because I can feel the wax. So wax building up. It is 10, but I'm going to just keep going for a little bit longer to finish her off. For those of you who are sticking it out, I'll have some people with me. Okay. So I think I'm gonna probably leave her face at that, and then I work on the makeup. And I'm gonna just pick a couple different rosy shades or red shades. Let's see, what color are we doing with her? I don't know exactly, but something lips colors. I think I want these colors here. And again, I'm taking 3 colors. You can do more, you can do less. I'm gonna lay down dark color along shadow of the lips, maybe bringing up again. I'm thinking about the contour of the lips. They're curved. Sharpen. Need to sharpen. especially for this type of detail, you need the sharper. And the polychromos or the, I don't know other alcohol, other oil-based markers, honestly, because I haven't used them, but polychromos has a little harder core to the lead. So you can get a little bit a longer sharp pencil compared to the softer wax leads. So there are pros and cons to everything. The biggest con of the polychromos is the price point. It's kind of out of my budget now. I don't have as big of a palette because, you know, I couldn't buy as many, so I don't have as many choices of colors, but it does a really good job of mixing. You can mix other colors to get new shades of the color. So that helps. And I try to have my strokes, again, follow the contours of what I'm working on. So these are lips and they're rounded. So I'm doing kind of curved. If I'm doing a distinct stroke, if I'm doing lighter things, just to fill in shades. But I try to keep the brush stroke or the pencil strokes in line so that if they do show up, they'll make sense. I don't want to soften. I'm using my lightest pencil to kind of blend out those darker colors. Don't want to have just the distinct lines. That one's a little bit too prominent. I want a little bit of and usually I do try to keep a highlight, or I'll go back in with a gel pen and put a light in like a gloss. You can also, if you have a fancy erasing tool, you think ahead and then you keep the light there, and I didn't do that, so that's what I would say. I have this tool that just rotates, and you can sharpen using sandpaper, or I can sharpen the tip of it so I can erase a specific area. So that's a great way to bring some highlights back. You can also try using a white pencil. I don't think that it'll kind of make it a little lighter, but it's not going to bring back like light. It will lighten some things up. Some people use them as blenders in areas that they want to lighten up. So you can certainly do that, but I don't want to lose the depth of the color of her lips either. So All right, so I want it to be a little bit more blended than it is. So there are blender pencils that are like the ones for the alcohol. They're just binder, they're not any color. So if you want to really soften up the pigment and not have, you know, the pencil strokes, you can use something like that, and it just kind of smushes everything together and softens those lines. And you can do that again with, like, I can use those here as well if I feel like there's maybe lines of the pencil showing. I can use the, you know, this to just try to soften that, push it into the paper, lose some of that texture if I want to. So okay, now I'm gonna do a little eyes. Let's see, I'm gonna make her green eyes. She's got a little light on this side, so I'm gonna follow that. Make it a little darker at the top because there's the eyelid is going across the eye, you know, so there's a shadow of the lashes. So I always like to make the top part a little darker. And then I want to leave that shiny part. I'm just going to touch this darker color down here, but really lightly. And then I'm going to go with my lighter color. It's a very small eye, so I'm not going to get a lot of detail in it. So I'm not going to worry about that too much. I like to put a little bit of like little lines radiating from the center, like your eye would have, and the darker color, just to give it a little bit of some interesting texture. Not too much. I want it to be obvious. Now, the inside of the eye is, you know, kind of reddish, like skin tone. So I'm going to use the lightest color I use for the lips to make that, because I used basically what would be a natural skin tone of like what her gums might look like. It's kind of what I think of it as. They say if you want to find the most natural shade of lipstick, look at the inside of your lip and the color of your skin tone there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that there. And then also, because, you know, the whites of our eyes, I mean, there's shadows and things from the lashes. So I'm going to use a little bit of gray. Just a really, I don't know, find a good gray, something very neutral color that just is gonna maybe look like a shadow. Maybe this color. So I don't want it to be too prominent. I just want to not have it be completely bright white and look unnatural. So I'm just going to lay in a little bit of, especially the top area, maybe around the edges. Again, this is a very small eye, so it's not like you're going to see a lot of the detail, but I know it's there. And then I would probably use the white blender if I want to blend that gray. Okay. And then now I'm going to do her makeup. Let's see. I oftentimes will match the lips, the lipstick and the and the makeup. but I'm gonna do something kind of. Again, I'm gonna use this color as the base eyeshadow because it's very natural for her. And then I'm going to do some contrast with this plum color. So you got to be a makeup artist too. And I'm gonna leave the right above the lashes. I'm gonna leave white for now because sometimes I like to leave that light. Sometimes I like to not. So I haven't decided yet. And if you think about how you apply makeup, you just kind of do the same thing. Just your base, where you would apply it. And then usually, you would do your darker color along the crease. So right above the crease of the eye, I'm going to lay in this plum color very lightly. I don't want I'm going to go back to my lighter color and blend that. Just looks like natural. And then sometimes I'll even add makeup, add some eyeliner or things like that. Like I might do a little more black, fill it in, but I do that with a fine liner, like a really small fine liner, or maybe I'll even embellish her eyelashes a little bit. Let me see if I can find my. You want to have a really, you could do with pencil, but it's a little trickier. You want to have a really fine tip, and it's hard to get, especially with these really soft leads. It's hard to keep that fine of a tip, and it's hard to get rid of. So where is my, finding my fine liner? So maybe she's not going to get. Maybe I'll try it with a pencil and see how it goes. Why not? In case that's all you have. Oh wait, here's one. Okay, I'm gonna try it with a pencil. Let's see what happens. Use the black. I'm gonna sharpen it really good. Now I don't put eyeliner, or I don't put eyeliner on the inner part of my lid anymore. Like the 80s. I did. Some people do, but I don't. So I'm gonna leave that, but I'm gonna maybe up here. The first thing I'm gonna do is embellish her lashes a little bit. So following what's there. See if I can. See, and it's really hard with, this isn't real fine. I'd rather have my, because you got to press hard enough to make it black and not gray, but you don't want to have it too thick of a line. So you got to be careful. So I added a few, you can see that. And then I might even go up here and just thicken in that top section, like I'm putting in some eyeliner. So it just looks like a little bit more makeup. If you want to, you could even do something along the low, like, and I think, okay, what would I do? I might put a little bit of purple below the lid, the lower lid. So I might add that, but I don't put it in here. Back in the day I did. So just think about how you do your makeup. Maybe if you do, you want to do it that way. It depends on the look you're trying to get. I'm going for somewhat, more of a natural look. Now you have to do the lashes last. I shouldn't even be touching anything in there because I can't blend it. Once I've done those lashes in the pencil, I can't blend anything over there. So it's done. I gotta walk away. I also think about how I might pencil the eyebrows. I wouldn't want to make them, where is this? Wouldn't want to make them too dark. Maybe the color that we use for this contrast. I think about like a pencil, drawing that in. I'm not trying to make it look like hairs. I'm just trying to make it like if I drew if I was using a pencil. And then I can use the blender. Just soften that in there. I know you're going to learn makeup techniques, did you? That's how I do it. I don't know. That's how everybody does it. But I think, oh, how would I do my makeup if I was her? Or how, if I was putting makeup on her. And since I have green eyes, I know the colors I would pick. But I don't make everybody have green eyes. Okay. Go back to this side. And just lightly putting in the background color. Is anybody here? Okay. I'm like, I don't know, people might be leaving and I don't know if anybody's still watching me. I'm just doing my thing. Okay. My boyfriend works till 11, so. I'm a little timid in coloring because, and I recognize this about myself. It's like, there's a point where you can go too far. And I'm trying to get braver and braver where it's like, okay, I'm just going to try it out. It doesn't work out. It's just like one page, right? So I get more and more once I feel more confident. But I tend to try to like less is more because it's like, okay, I don't want to, if I add this one thing, it might be take it over. Kind of like those cheeks on that one. It's a good example. So, but I like subtle. So generally for myself, so I'm okay with that. Try to play around. Like on this one, I went pretty bold with her eyes. And on this one, I went really bold. So, I play around. Okay. This one I'm doing kind of more like what I would do for my own makeup. Because she has the color of eyes that I have. So it makes it easy. Okay. Now I'm going to add a few lashes there. Some and probably I would still want more, a lighter highlight on this, on the lip. I'll try with some white, but. There. Oh, I feel better now. All right. I think I'm gonna go ahead and color. I feel like, well, hold on a second. I feel like I want to fix something over here. I want a little bit more. That's what I do. I always see something, you know, when I think I'm going to be done, and then I play around with it. Sometimes I'll walk away and then I come the next day, especially at nighttime. I just don't have the lighting. So this might look completely different in the daylight, but I'm going to call her done now. For now, I mean her face, and then it might change tomorrow. But for now, I think for us, for our time together, I'm going to say, let's pause. I have like every pen and marker in my collection practically out. All right, let me stop my share. Let me pause my video.